right, taking a look at the markets, but before I do want to relay, we talked about the effect of right now of money and the war and a possibly expanding one in Israel. The U.S. has just approved $20 billion in weapons sales, we understand, to Israel at the time of this potential widening regional conflict. We don't know the breakdown of the weapons systems, but they were quickly approved and on their way to Israel. Now, another thing that was on the way today was despite all this concern about a rupture in the Middle East, didn't see it in oil prices, didn't see anything in the latest wholesale inflation report, what they call the producer price index, measures prices at the level before they get to us with retail inflation, and that will come out tomorrow. But steady as she goes on that front, or is it? Let's go to Gary Kaltbaum, Kaltbaum Capital Management President, Fox News contributor. Gary, it is weird, and you and I have talked about this many, many times, how the markets have by and large ignored the Middle East. You could actually date it back to October 7th and the Hamas attacks. Nothing there. Oil prices are lower. General world markets are higher since then. Why?
I wish I knew, Neil, and I got to tell you, the oil prices today getting hit when we have this possible threat from Iran, and we're talking possible blockades of oil, which would spike oil prices. Let's just say fickle. Right. Throughout the years, potential for war in markets. Markets have pretty much ignored them because I think the two words over there get center stage. But leave no doubt, if things escalate, if there's blockades, if oil prices start spiking $10, $15 because of it, it will definitely have an impact on the markets for sure.
All right, now it seems like the markets have shaken off what they were, the body blows they were absorbing a week ago. Yesterday, we were slowly digging our way out of it a week ago at this time, but a long way from that. There was talk about an emergency Fed meeting to get a handle on this. That seems to have eased somewhat. Where are you on this, and what happens next?
Well, I thought the Fed should have done an emergency meeting, and I guess I was wrong because the markets have come back nicely. And today was the first day I saw some real, what I would call oomph in the market. Before it was just a bunch of bouncing. I just think what happened, the semiconductor index, to me, the most important area of the market, was down 28% in a month. And I think the market decided enough's enough, and we're back on the way. How much, I don't know. But I just think last Monday was this big volatility explosion that washed out sellers, and I think buyers getting the upper hand right now, and we'll see where it takes us. The other part of the equation is that we're at 3.85 on the 10-year yield, Neil. We hit 4.9 in October ago. That is a huge drop in cost of capital all through the food chain, which is good for profits from the consumer all the way down to big business, and that provides some sort of tailwind. I think that's part of the equation here.
You know what I think is important, and you're the expert, but as you know, I read a prompter, so I think I qualify, Gary. And one of the things I've noticed is the consumer. If you really want to know where we're going, talk to the consumer and what he or she is doing. So when I get news at a Home Depot today warning that their customers are being very cautious, and when it comes to home improvement projects, and I always admire people who can do that sort of stuff on their own. I don't know which end of the hammer to use, but that's a separate issue. And they're not buying as much. They're not going that far out on the limb to do these projects. And I'm wondering, when I hear that from the likes of Procter & Gamble, when I hear that, dare I say it, from Heineken, what does that tell you? Is our fear now not so much higher prices, but a slower economy?
I believe so. Look, Home Depot, Amazon, Walmart, Disney, American Airlines. It's a laundry list right now. Retailers are discounting left and right. You don't get $5, now $4 meals for no reason. It's to attract the customers. And I think that this consumer is softer here. I will promise you, though, if we go into some sort of real recession, the market's going to be down another 15% from here. So I think so far we're okay. It's softness right now. Let's hope that's all it is, because if it gets worse with a debt-laden consumer and government, there can be some problems going forward with the economy and the market, and keep fingers crossed that doesn't come to fruition.
Got it, my friend. Thank you very, very much. Gary Kaltbaum on that.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.